Hey everybody, this is Merrick coming at you not live again with another action figure review. Can we call these action figures? I don't know. But all I know is that I was at a yard sale one day and I was just going through the person's stuff. I opened a container and inside was a little baggie, and inside that little baggie I immediately recognized the horns and head of a Rokusho Medabot, and I just took a look at it and I saw a bunch of like these little robots, and the next thing you know, I was asked, they asked me, I asked them like what it was, because I immediately identified the Rokusho, and they wanted $1 for the whole bag, and as you saw, the thumbnail was a terrible, terrible lie, and here we have a whole slew. Okay, sorry about that, like, weird camera angle. Way the tripod I'm using bends. But here we have a whole slew of Medabots toys that I never even knew existed at all. So, out of the bag, these are like all the complete ones. I even got like some other things in that bag that weren't, related to Medabots. One of them being a Armada Minicon, part of the, the team that makes the Star Saber. I think it was Payload. And it's funny, too, because I also got another piece. I don't have them with me right now. I was going to show them off, and I'm like, didn't feel like it. But I also got this, which apparently when I looked it up, was part of some game die thing. So, like, you would play a game with these little figures, and you would use this as a sort of die to, like, play around with it and whatnot. And I only have one of these out of that whole bag. But like I said, I never knew that these things existed. My exposure, hell, I didn't even know that there was, like, a whole thing related to Medabots, or Medarot, as it's known as in Japan. My exposure to Medabots came from this game. Medabots Rokusho. It came like sort of like Pokemon. There were two games. The other one was Medabi. And all I know is that this game was fucking difficult, and it was not like Pokemon as I expected it to be. But I still have it to this day because, I tried it out. It's not really, but I can respect, though, because I love fucking robots. I can respect the fact that these little toys exist. So, if I can't enjoy the game, I might as well, like, enjoy these figures, because I gotta say, I really love the designs of, like, the Medabots. So, I'm gonna use, like, the Rokusho here as a small example of, like, what the typical stuff goes for, and we'll cover some, like, minors and pet peeves and whatnot as I go on and such. But, basically, the articulation is very simple. Shoulders swivel, head swivel, and waist swivel. There's no leg articulation whatsoever, but there is supposed to be elbow swivel. I don't know what you call that, but it's very rare. But I think this kind of has to do with the play pattern of what you're supposed to do with these. But yeah, as you can sort of see, these are like very, very, very simplistic in terms of like articulation. These came out in like 1999, I want to say. This one's one of my favorites, though, in terms of design. I've never seen this one in the game, too. I never got far in it, but, again, very simple articulation. As you sort of see, they're coming apart. This guy, in particular, he's got, like, that little, like, that plastic slick to him. They're that old, and they're that, like, soft plastic and whatnot. But, yeah, like, each one has little bits. Unfortunately, the Medabi suffers the most in being, like, in this, like, simplified style. Very limited in articulation. Those huge fucking legs. Here's another one. This one's like very samurai-esque. I believe it is called White Sword. Pretty cool. He's got some of the most articulation of all of them. And I think when I found him in the bag, he wasn't really like falling apart. He was like completely together. But again, that falling apart stuff is a gimmick of the play pattern. And I'll get to that in like a second. We're just going over the bots here. We got this slug one, which I really love the weapon on this, like, the missile pod hand, and, like, I presume a laser hand. I feel like I've seen something like this in the game, though, but, very limited articulation. It got like a little slug body, and then apparently it also came in a more metallic green color, which I think this one's also a little bit more detailed in terms of like the design aspects and whatnot. But again, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about what they're dealing with here and whatnot. I'm not too worried about like what the design is on like these bots, but I think I prefer the metallic color to this one. But I'll go over everything that I know about them as we cover. We also got this thing, which I believe is called Warbot. He's got like gun arms, and he's very similar in terms of like design to the Medabots like arms. They all have like very like like sort of like this kind of like design and whatnot, punchy and punchy and punchy. And Ninja. And last but not least, I believe this one is called the Robo Emperor. Robo Emperor. I think this one's like also like a really cool design. They got like that RoboCop kind of visor, gun hand, missile hand. Fucking, I love robots, so these robot designs like really play off of my like, you know, ideals and what you do with it. But typically what Medabots is about, you're really going around and when you play the game, you can get parts as your winnings for battles, and you can use them to customize your bots and whatnot, right? So you can put like laser cannon hands and gun hands and all of that on your Medabots, or, you know, you can give them melee attacks, make them faster, make them slower. There's strategy to it. So that's where I think that this toy here, that these figures are where the play pattern kind of comes in. So they can come apart like so. Some parts are in there very gently. I don't even know if this is how the play pattern works. I've never had these things before. But the fact that they can come apart, I'm thinking that that's sort of like what you do here. Like, you know, just pull it apart like that. Put the Rokusho, and there you go. It's not a perfect fit, but it goes right in there and whatnot. Sort of see it like woo, 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 and whatnot. It ain't perfect, but it sort of works. And I presume that's what you had to do the whole time when it came to like messing around with these figures. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I never had these when I was a kid. I only had the game, and that's what you do in the game, so that's what I presume you do with the action figures here. Or, again, if you could call these action figures. You pick them apart piece by piece, put them back together piece by piece, any sort of way you want to, and you just kind of, you know, have fun with it, make it up as it go. And I sort of presume that some parts are more fitting for other bots than others and whatnot. So I would think this guy, again, probably if this is like going off camera and whatnot, I'm trying to pay attention to where I put these pieces on, because that head sculpt is like pretty damn like crazy. Uh-oh. Yeah, they don't like holding together too much because they're, like I said, I think that's just the plastic degradation. These are old. These are old, and I've had like better figures all over. These were sitting, remember, these were old. These were sitting in a bag in the sun for I don't know how long before I picked them up. So I'm just kind of happy that they kind of stay together in their own sort of like way. But I can't speak I can't speak again for like if this is like the true play pattern or not. This is just how I presume it would go, because you could take them apart. Unless, you know, they get unless like also the game they get damaged and you're able to like, you know, put them back together or something like that as part of like the little game that came with the die. I wish I was more knowledgeable on this, to be honest with you, but I just know this from the game and secondhand, so that's what I thought would happen with these toys. I would say though too, these all right here on display are all of the completed ones. Again, I'm just going to pan the camera over them once more. Apology if it's like a little awkward because there's a lot of them and the camera can only like go back and forth so far. I did end up getting a couple that were incomplete. And I kind of want to finish this one because I think this one looks like really cool. So this one is called Stingray, based off of like my research. And I'm just missing a head, but I really like the way this thing looks. And I don't know. I've taken a look online, and I don't see people, like, seen people selling individual pieces. I've also seen people selling whole pots for a lot, but like, I don't know what to think or make of it. So I just think that they're kind of cool looking for what they are. Again, roll call of, I guess, my favorites. I like the metallic green version of this guy. I'm not too crazy about like the slug tail, but it is what it is. Like, the front of him looks fucking sick. I really love the weapons on this. This one's my favorite. This one's another one of my favorites. I never would have expected a chameleon bot. Whoop. He also likes coming apart there. So again, like, there's pretty interesting like ways that these bots sort of like, can he stand up on his own without the back? No, he can. He can. Look at that. It's a little skewed, but it works. But I don't know. A little odd. He's also very loose because of again, the plastic degradation and being in the sun for like I don't know how long. These guys are like very rubbery plastic. I like the freaking Rakusho. The Medabots is cooler in fully articulated form because there's been some model kits that I've seen. I actually ordered a Rakusho one because I found this. But Medabots looks better in action figure and model kit form, not in this little mini form, because he can't really move his arms beyond like this. And I originally thought that he's displayed like that, which makes a little sense because he shoots from his arms, as far as I know. It doesn't even look like the way that they had him sort of like displayed and pictures online was like this. So again, I am very, very, very confused on how you're playing around with these, because they don't like to stick together and whatnot. And so this guy, he's cool looking, but eh. The ninja is also cool looking, but eh. I'm not too keen on the design. He's got a very samurai-esque design. The ninja looks okay, but I think my like super favorite is this one, the Robo Emperor, I believe it is called. Again, like, it's got the two normal arms. It's got like the wiry lower half, kind of like it's got like this weird back panel thing. I don't even think this dude can move. I can just imagine him being like, whoa, firing with the missiles, whoa, shooting with the gun, everything like that. Like, it's really cool. And hell, he's got like, he's got like little normal arms down here. Like, wow, I'm part normal robot. Or I was originally a normal robot before I got turned into this robot mechanical mutilation and all that crap. He's also got like pretty good articulation up here. I could imagine like some pieces like fitting on top of this pretty well, because he just kind of like sits there and doesn't move, so you don't have to like move him around or worry about him like falling apart and whatnot. But either way, I think that these figures are pretty cool. I don't know if they're really worth as much as they seem to be online, especially for like, a big fan of like, I almost called them Robotech again. Fucking Medabots, jeez. If you're a big fan of, like, Medabots, I don't know if these are, like, good for you. I think they're cool. I think they're a cool, like, collectible from, like, way back when. But if you want, like, something more in line with the actual, like, thing, I said, like, I ordered a model kit of the Rakusho. What the fuck was it? The Koto Bakuya one? I hope I did not butcher that name. I've been getting into like, not Gundam model kits, but I built a freaking, whatchamacallit, Machine Dramon a little bit ago. Honestly, kind of worth it. It looks fucking sick. But, again, I digress. The point is that, like, they're still making stuff related to Robotech, so, there I go again. They're still making stuff related to Medabots. So I'd say, if you really want to get something, get, like, the big figure of it. Because I don't, like, you can get, like, a bunch of these probably for, like, whatever amount. But the big figure, like, I believe the Rakusho one I got is about, like, 30 to 40 bucks. So I think that might be better for you if you want, like, a more super accurate to everything kind of look. But if you want something, like, small and simple, maybe for, like, your desk at work or something like that, like, hell, maybe track one of these down if the price is not too crazy for you. Hell, like, the Rakusho looks fucking really good. Like, legit, I bought that bag just for this, and I got all these as, like, a bonus, really. So, $1 for all of these? Oh yeah, like if you're lucky. But for other stuff, nah, man. Like I don't know. Like I said, if I wanna complete the Stingray because I think that he looks cool, and the head on like the little like game art that I saw or whatever of it, or the anime art, looked pretty cool. So I think that would be a nice like finisher to fix, like to put this to pieces or whatever. But I don't know. I might. I don't know what I'm gonna do with most of them, but I know for a fact I'm keeping the Rakusho because I think the Rakusho is sick. This guy I'm keeping. We'll see how this sort of goes. I just gotta find like the right place to, like, you know, deal with all sorts of stuff. But well, that's a quick look at these guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, be yourselves and peace. Merrick out. I'll see you later.